Okay, so there are a lot of odd things that have happened over the years. We've been doing this for a zillion years now. We did the old show called the Snark Factor. Tracy came on board when we were part of FTR Radio. I left FTR Radio, and so Tracy left FTR Radio too. And then we started Enough Already. And now I am doing the Snark Factor on Wham Talk 1600 AM in Ann Arbor. So it's weird, but we've been doing this for a long, long time, and we've run into a lot of strange people and not so strange people over the years. And I think to myself, wow, this is odd how this happened. So I'm skimming through the Instagrams today, Tracy.
Okay.
And I come across Dr. Gina Loudon. You remember Dr. Gina? Not a strange person. And the person I'm about to mention isn't strange either. I don't know why I threw strange out there, but things are strange. People are strange.
When you're a stranger.
Things are, okay. So anyway, I see Dr. Gina's Instagram, and I haven't talked to Dr. Gina in a long time. I used to be a regular on her show when she was doing radio. Now I think she's got something going on with the president. I don't mean like kinky with the president. I mean, like she's got something going on. I mean, like she's doing some sort of she's got some position with the president, not in a position. This is all strange.
You want to slow yourself down? You seem over caffeinated today, Fingers. You seem hurried here.
I don't mean, and all is going sexual innuendo, and I didn't mean to do that. She's working with the president in his campaign, I believe. So she shares on her Instagram today. I don't know if you remember this, but when we would go to CPAC, she had a stylist named Ola.
No.
Ola Style, I believe. She went by, and that was her Dr. Gina's personal stylist. Where am I going with this? Dr. Gina's personal stylist is running for Congress.
Nice.
In New York, and at this point, we are now recording this week's episode a day after the New York primary. She's running for Congress in New York's the 19th district, and at this point, she has a 500-vote lead.
Wow!
In the primary.
She's in a Republican primary, I assume. Is that correct?
Yes, she's running as a Republican. She's in the Republican primary in a district that is winnable. Ola Hawitma. Hawitmeh?
Just say it really fast, and then nobody knows you're saying it wrong.
Yeah, Hawatma.
There you go.
So apparently, at this point, she has a 500-vote lead in the New York 19th congressional district. But apparently, and they've been saying this for a while, that we aren't going to get final results from New York primaries for I believe 8 weeks, I think.
I think they'll be finished counting the Iowa delegates from the Iowa Democrat primary, the caucuses there. They should be finished that slightly before they finish the New York counts.
Yeah. So listen, there's a long way to go, and I'm assuming that she was not the establishment's choice, because I believe she's running against a Republican lawyer who is down 500 votes at this point. Kyle Vanden Water.
Okay. Do they sell that at Whole Foods?
Yes, they do. But so anyway, at this point, well done, Ola. I hope you represent the 19th congressional district in New York.
Should she be the first candidate Scam Pack gets behind, or is this too legit for Scam Pack?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is too legit for Scam Pack. I mean, we don't want to make it sound like her candidacy is not legitimate by saying Scam Pack's first endorsement is Ola Style, which that's her handle on Instagram and probably Twitter. I don't know, MySpace. And
spelled Hola?
OLA.
Oh, OLA. Okay.
Ola Style. So. Oh, it's actually at Style Ola. I apologize. Okay. I flipped them. Did a flip there. It's the at Style Ola. So for those of you who want to get into some sort of congressional race, you want to throw the money, you want to do this. This is what they do. They do this, and you can't see this on the podcast because that's audio. But if you're watching it right now on YouTube and BitChute, you're seeing me making it rain with no money. That's what's going on there. So you can make it rain by donating to the Ola campaign if she happens to pull this sucker off. So she could be the next Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez out of nowhere. So you never know.
This is true. It's true. But here's the deal, because we talked about AOC and whether or not she was going to win her race, and she did quite handily, except New York said, I think I read this morning, they sent out 1,000,001 absentee ballots for people that didn't feel comfortable coming to vote, you know.
Right.
But they didn't have to be postmarked until yesterday, the day of the election. So I don't know if you've ever worked election polls.
No, I've not had the pleasure. I've heard wonderful things.
It's quite a pleasure. And the deal is that those are there the day of, so that after you finish making sure that everything checked out with the in-person voting from that day, you go through the absentees, and it's all handled at one shot. And one of the reasons that's done is because that's the actual deadline for the votes.
Right.
But also, say somebody came in and voted in person and they mailed in an absentee, then you throw away the absentee ballot. So now we were already talking about the potential for fraud with mail-in ballots, because how do you ever prove who filled it out and sent it in?
Right.
But now you could go vote in person and then your thing shows up a couple days later. So that has to be received by the 30th. That's how pathetic the post office is allowed to be. It's mailed in the state, staying in the state. Most of these, I assume, unless they're getting all the New Yorkers that have fled to other states to get out from under Cuomo, and they need some time to get them in there, but 7 days.
Well, they have to account for part of the state is still being serviced by the Pony Express. So that takes time. And ponies get tired. So it takes time to get the mail from Albany to the Albany.
Right. But I mean, in theory, if you're just staying home, like you're not going to be out of state where you need to mail it in or something like this, how long should it actually take to travel from the post office box that you put it in to your, and I don't even know where they're going, because the way that it's done here under normal circumstances is it gets mailed and ends up, I guess the county people bring it in. So I think it goes to the county and then they bring it to the appropriate voting spot.
Right.
So the furthest it could have to travel is maybe 10 miles. But we can't do that.
Well,
coronavirus is slowing everything down still.
Part of these votes are being delivered by carrier pigeon. So that takes time to relay the vote from carrier pigeon to carrier pigeon. I don't know.
It's absurd.
It is absurd. And listen, I know that part of the reason why they're doing this is they're trying to be very thorough because they're worried about voter fraud, Tracy.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Well, here's the thing that I saw reported, because I went on the New York Times' dashboard this morning to see how AOC did against, and I always forget that chick's name, Cabrera, whatever, from MSNBC that ran against her. And here's the deal. Yeah, she lost in the Democrat primary to AOC, but in New York, they have multiple parties, and you can cross-file.
Okay.
So as far as I can tell, her big opponent got through on some other left-leaning party's ticket in the state of New York. So she should still be in the general election against her.
Well, I guess I was on the New York Times website last night as well. And apparently at the last minute, the AOC made a huge ad buy. And it was a digital ad buy. And apparently she was running ads calling her opponent a former Republican.
Sick burn. Oh, man. Michelle Caruso Cabrera. That's the lady that she's running
Republican, which really means
that also applies to Elizabeth Warren, and Hillary Clinton has claimed that as well, I believe.
Well, yes, which really means Nazi, as we all know.
Sure.
Former Republican, current Nazi. That's the speak. It's the lingo. Oh, these are wonderful times we're living in. So apparently, from what I can make out from the Democratic Party platform so far, it seems like the agenda is we're for taking your shit, burning your shit, or ripping your shit down in 2020. That's pretty much the platform I'm seeing so far. And the polling indicates that Basement Biden, as we like to call him, is up 13, according to the polls. Based on the platform of we're going to take your shit, we're going to burn your shit, we're going to break your shit. Is that the...
Should we take it, break it, burn it?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to come up with something for a bumper sticker to sell at enoughlalready.media. We already have T-shirts, right? Do we have T-shirts yet? Do we have the T-shirts?
What are you talking about? Did you do anything about that?
I haven't, but I know you were wearing a T-shirt. Is that for sale yet?
That's been up for weeks.
See?
That's not an Enough Already original or anything like that.
Oh, it's not. But where can people tell people about the T-shirt?
Well, now you make me want to go get it. And then it's like I got to walk across my living room, go to my bedroom, dig it out of the drawer. Well, basically,
include it in the post for when
I could do that. But if you want to see it, you can go to Obey, which is OB, and then 3 A's, then the letter Y.com, and it should take you to this Obey shirt, which is just a little sheepy wearing a mask. So if you follow me on Instagram, I took a photo of myself wearing one out for a walk and judging this guy who's back over my shoulder walking while wearing a mask. And it's hot and there's nobody else around. And so you look like a dipshit.
Yeah. It's driving me crazy because, as you know, Tracy, I've got 62 jobs, somewhere in the neighborhood of 62. And one of my jobs that I work the most at, they require me to wear a mask at all times. So now I'm starting to get like blisters all over the front of my face.
Why didn't you use the HIPAA law and say, I have a medical condition and you can't ask me what it is because it's a violation of HIPAA?
No,
you didn't know this?
Well,
it's too late now.
Oh, I just realized I've got a condition.
Well, you could have you could get a doctor's note.
Yeah. Face blisters. It's not fun. I don't know how medical professionals deal with this on a daily basis.
Well, think about it. They're in climate controlled spaces. They're not moving around a lot. If you think about it, you're operating, what are you moving? Your hands?
Yes.
It's like scalpel, somebody hands it to you. Right. You're not doing a lot.
Yeah.
But walking around and
100
I saw I was out. I take a little walk normally during lunchtime. There's a park right behind our facility, and I was walking today and I noticed this rounded shape that appeared to be crouched, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. What is this that I'm coming up against?" And it's not the nicest neighborhood.
Okay.
So I always walk with my steel water bottle that you can tell if I'm feeling a little bit, like this might be a shady situation. It will switch from my left hand to my right. So I can swing that thing if I need to. And so I see this thing and I'm like, it's almost like somebody's in a catcher's position. And it's not a small individual, mind you. And then I noticed the butt crack is sticking out and I was like, well, this is getting even better. And so it's this rotund gentleman who has a cane, mind you. He's in a catcher stance, butt crack hanging out. He's wearing sweatpants. It feels like, according to my my watch here, 92 degrees. The cane is between his hands, so he's using it to keep him in that position. And then I noticed that he's wearing a mask. And I was so close to walking over to him and saying, sir, you don't strike me as being in the best of health. Right. And there's nobody else within 50 yards of you. Where do you think that this contagion is going to attack you from? Because you're obviously not worried about your backside. Because it could sneak up your butt crack. I'm just saying.
Right? Well, maybe that's
you
what
have
he's
exposed orifices, sir.
Maybe that's what he's worried about. He's worried about getting ass crack corona.
I know we talked about it in passing months ago that I had read an article about South Korea. It wasn't South Korea. I think it was maybe from Hong Kong when they had the SARS outbreak years ago, and they figured out that there was fecal transmission because a whole bunch of people in the same apartment building got it. And so it was leaking out of the pipes and gaseous emissions. And I read something today saying that might be a thing in the States. They're like, oh, you probably shouldn't use public restrooms. So now I can't remember the name of this thing that I saw yesterday, but it's a new bag fingers that comes with this nice plastic kind of cup lid that's for both men and women to use so they can urinate wherever they want. And there's some weird chemicals in it that just absorb the pee, and you can keep using it until the whole thing's full. Then you just throw it in the trash can. Like, wow. I mean, I'm not a big environmentalist. That sounds really gross to me. We're going to have landfills full of like pee chemical bags now.
It's called the pocket pisser. What is this?
I don't know. I got to find it for you. No, there was that thing that used to be called like Stadium Buddy that was out years ago, but that was more like an IV bag that emptied. No, this actually has some kind of little pebble-shaped things that are, they absorb liquid. It's all sold out on Amazon. The article I read was basically an advertorial, and it was like, oh, go check out this thing. It's the hottest seller.
Yeah, so, you know what? I think I'll stick with the public restroom, to be honest with you. But what's weird is you're hearing stories, and you would think by now, being that we're in a month 72 of this pandemic, that we would have better data and information on this virus than we do. I mean, I was listening to Rogan's podcast the other day, and I can't remember the gentleman, Brett.
Brett Weinstein?
Yeah, Brett Weinstein was on. And they were talking about the people who have tested positive but have shown no symptoms. And Mr. Weinstein said that he believed he read somewhere where even the people who are not showing symptoms that have tested positive, between 30 and 40%, I believe he said, of those people have lung damage, have experienced some sort of lung damage. Now, whether it's permanent or not, we don't know yet. But the idea that you're not showing any symptoms and yet you could still have lung damage is very bizarre. You would think by now we would be getting better information than we are.
Right. No, I agree. And if anybody's not familiar with Brett, he's a biologist. And he became famous a couple of years ago. He was the professor that got basically run out of Evergreen State University for not complying with the social justice mob's demands. And he is a lefty. But that was a pretty interesting podcast because I thought he did the best job of explaining why he believes that this was probably made in a lab. And it was pretty compelling. So like some of his main points were that normally there's a lag time between transmission from something that's in an animal before it can make the hop to humans and be successful.
Right.
In doing so. And he said, this kind of happened pretty fast. And so that tells me somebody's potentially meddling with it. And then the other thing, which would lend credence to this study that I still don't understand the study, and I read the damn thing today about whether or not there was a spike caused by the protests. So we'll get to that in a second. But he's saying there doesn't seem to be a lot of outdoor transmission. And this idea that it's sensitive to UV light could mean that it had adapted inside of the lab. So it's used to those kind of, that setting, that kind of temperature, that exposure to light, and which is just weird to think, but this is what scientists do when they study these viruses. They basically build them up.
Right.
They make them stronger so that they can study them. And in doing that, then it's, of course, adapting to whatever environment you're doing these experiments on it in. So, but I would recommend people watch that episode because not only did they talk about that, but they talked about how far the left has just gone off the damn rails.
Well, and the other thing too that I thought was very interesting is that they, and we've been very open about how we're fans of the Joe Rogan podcast, and listen, obviously more people are familiar with that show than our show, so it's not like we should say, hey, you should check out we're plugging the Joe Rogan podcast. But one of the things I found really interesting about that particular episode was he talked about how science has been really corrupted by the grant system. And, as someone who is on the right side of the political spectrum. I sure would have loved if Joe would have asked, does that include climate science?
Right. Well, it's funny because they don't ever go there with that.
Right.
Because I believe, I don't know about Brett, but I'm pretty sure his brother Eric, who's also a pretty outspoken lefty that seems rational, and he's talked about the corruption because Brett's the one that discovered it and then kind of sat on it, and Eric's much more gregarious about his opinions and not as timid, it seems. But I think they all still believe the climate science. No, for some reason that's walled off. Like,
yeah.
Church of Climate Scientology is totally not corrupted.
Right. But no, you should really check that particular. Well, you should check out all of Joe Rogan's podcasts. But
he's done some really good ones in the last week or so.
Yeah, he has.
But for those who are wondering and want to get this, pee bag thing, it's called Travel John.
Oh, Travel John.
Travel John. It's real cute. Ugh. It's all sold out though, so.
But that's more
good luck.
That's more of a female problem, isn't it?
I guess the idea is that you don't even have to stop driving. If people are texting while they're driving, putting on makeup, reading newspapers, all these things, you might as well just, pull out the Travel John.
Gross, but I've never personally done it. I just hop out of my car, but I've heard of guys that will pull out a pop bottle or whatever. It's a lot more challenging for people who identify themselves as female to drive while peeing, which I believe, or pee while driving. I believe that is still okay as long as you don't have your phone in your hand while you're driving. And then
that is correct.
Okay.
That's true.
Good.
That's totally true.
So Travel John, they, by the way, should be a sponsor of the Enough Already podcast.
I'll reach out. I'll put up an affiliate link on the site.
There you go.
And tell us how your experience was.
Yeah, please do.
Please.
Okay, so apparently we've declared war on every statue in the country.
Yes.
Is that where we are at this point?
Mm-hmm.
We're fighting racism by going after concrete and metal, bronze, and whatever else these statues are made of. That's what we're doing?
That's what we've gone to. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Well, you got to destroy the symbols of power.
Yeah, I feel the country is less racist now from doing this. And now we've also gotten rid of we've done the master cleanse on Gone with the Wind. That's going to be back soon after going to re-education camp. We've gotten rid of Cops, the TV show Cops, which I didn't know was still on the air. We talked about that previously. Apparently, Live PD, that was a show.
Yep. Go on.
They're starting to try to go after the big ones. Like they made an attempt at Law and Order. And Law and Order, I mean, that's the franchise for NBC. They've got 16 different Law and Orders.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Law and Order. I can't remember if it's called Law and Order London. I caught one episode of it, and it was so funny to me because they still solve murders, but it's all it was knife crime, of course. And the cops don't have guns, so it's a terrifying kind of thing where they've got the bad guy cornered. And I watch a bunch of different British cop shows, and it's always just stunning to me. I'm like, how insane are these people? They're just going to go in there and they know the guy's armed, but they have to get special dispensation to either take their own service weapon out of the station or call in for, their equivalent of a SWAT team to join them. Just like, this doesn't seem so smart.
No. I got nothing. And by the way, doesn't sound very entertaining.
It depends on the show.
Oh. Like what are the weapons that the criminals normally have?
They have guns.
Oh, they have guns.
They have shotguns and long guns, or I think it's kind of like you can get a license to go hunting, and there might be some hereditary thing where this was grandpa's gun, so I'm allowed to have it. I've never really dug into
I
their
just figured it'd be
gun
like
laws.
oddball weapons. Like we've got the perp trapped. I don't know if they call them perps in London. We've got the perp trapped. He has a harpoon. Well,
you remember when the last jihadi that flipped out over there on the London Bridge, and the guys from the pub came out, and one of them took the narwhal tusk off of the wall and stabbed the guy with that.
That's right.
And it was funny. I was telling somebody about that recently, and they're like, "A what?" And I was like, "A narwhal." Like, I have no idea what that is. I'm like, "It's the unicorn of the sea." Come on. It is. It's the weirdest looking animal, and you're just like, "Okay, Darwin, let's chat about this evolution thing. Explain that to me, and explain to me fainting goats. Go." Mostly the fainting goats. That makes no sense.
With someone about fainting goats, and I happened to text someone about it later, and there's a fainting goat
society.
GIF.
Oh, but there's the Fainting Goat Society, which I would recommend everybody just goes to their website. So if you're not familiar with fainting goats, when they get scared, and they're easily scared when they're young. Mm-hmm. As they get older, they get smarter about it and they come up with ways to deal. But if you frighten one, they just immediately, all their muscles lock up and they fall over.
Shouldn't that really be Karen's mascot?
It would have to dial 911 on the way down or yell like, "Let me speak to the manager." But if you want to entertain yourself, go watch videos of those. But the Fainting Goat Society's logo is a goat with all four on its back with all four legs sticking straight up. And I so want one as a pet, and then just take it for walks and make loud noises when there are other people around. So it just falls over and everybody thinks the thing died, and then it just jumps back up. But evolutionarily, like, what you think, how many animals get turned off by the dead stuff? Like, that's your mechanism, is just play literally dead, because they get paralyzed for about 3 to 5 seconds and then they jump back up. So if something like chase mountain lion or a bear or something bigger than you, and you just drop dead looking, you think they're just gonna be like, "Oh no, don't want that one."
Right.
That was a bad one.
It's not fresh.
Yeah, no, something wrong with that.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've already, we're 26 minutes in, and we've jumped around a wide variety of topics so far. I never thought we've been doing this for 3-4 years now. We never talked about fainting goats before.
Really?
Always something new.
That should be this 2020's mascot.
Right? Next,
forget all these reporters. Any of you listen to us that chase around the candidates, just chase around with a fainting goat and let's see. Like, Joe Biden reacts to fainting goat. Who doesn't want to see that video?
I would like to see the fainting goat as part of the White House press corps. Right next to Acosta.
You should sit in front of him, in the row in front of him, without a mask, please.
Yes. Whenever the president or the press secretary says something, and there's a gasp from the White House press,
yep.
the goat.
Goat down, goat down. Up, he's back up. Continue. But that reminds me, since we last recorded, we had the hubbub over the fantastic meme that has since gotten Carpe Dunctum banned permanently from Twitter. I don't know if you saw that today, Fingers. The meme that he made of the two little boys hugging each other. Do you remember this? Banned. Just gone. Done. Guillotined. Finished. So for those who haven't seen it, I know he's got it posted on his local site, and I've posted it on our locals page from his. But it was such a clever little thing where it was a video that went viral maybe 3-4 years ago of a little toddlers, right, 2 or 3 years old, a little white boy and a little black boy, and they run down the street and hug each other. But the end of the video is the two of them running away. So he cut it in reverse, where it's the two of them running away and the little black boy's in front of the little white boy. So he puts up like a CNN bottom third ticker that explains what you're seeing as far as what CNN would describe to you. So it's, like, I can't remember it, but we can take it to the nth degree. Just imagine it says like white supremacist toddler chases black toddler down the street and blah, blah, blah. This is CNN. And then it's like what you didn't see, and it shows them hugging. And so he put that out. Trump retweets it. Then it gets labeled manipulative video. Then Acosta goes on CNN that night to talk about how disgusting this whole thing is, that they would do that and manipulate this video. All they did was put a logo on it. Everybody knows it's fake, but it's so spot on.
Twitter is hot trash. The mainstream media is garbage. Think about this for a second. China. The Chinese government can throw Chinese propaganda out there. Iran. Right? They can throw their propaganda on Twitter. Twitter says nothing.
Yes.
Carpe Dunctum? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Her name? I don't mean to assign
No, it's a
gender.
he.
Gets banned permanently over a joke, and not even an obscene joke, an offensive joke, something that would make a goat faint. No, nothing like that. And Twitter says you're off this platform, pal.
Done.
Take that over to MySpace. Get the hell out.
Yes. So here's his official statement that he posted up on Locals, where everybody's heading to, and Parler's been trending, which is the Twitter substitute. So he says, I've been permanently suspended by Twitter for the toddler video that President Trump tweeted last week. I received a DMCA takedown order this morning for that video, and a few hours later, a suspension letter. Twitter has not provided me with any avenue to get my account back, so I assume they intend this to be a final and permanent. I have always complied with DMCA takedown rules, and I have submitted counterclaims when necessary, but I have never, and he writes never in all caps, uploaded content that has been removed. I've abided by the community guidelines and followed the rules. It doesn't matter. I've been banned for being effective, and they won't even look me in the eye as they do it. So they have responded to ABC News, but not me, the account holder. So if you would like to support me, make noise, whatever, join him on Locals. So he's at carpedunctum.locals. I know, it's bullshit, but everybody knew this was coming, right? 2020, it's like the social media, they've been kind of behaving, but they can't stop the Trump people. And like his online support is way, way more intense than anything on the other side. So how do you kill that? You shut them down. And you can get them on these stupid bullshit technicalities because they make up the rules as they go along.
It makes me sick because, we've been talking about this for 3 years now, and the left continues to make me sound like I should have a Trump tramp stamp. Mm-hmm. It drives me insane. The behavior in the last month from the left makes me go from I am an independent, I want to vote for every libertarian I see, to I will vote for every mediocre Republican straight down the line party ticket if it prevents America from turning into Portland and Seattle. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to do it. But if this is the new Democratic Party, then screw them and definitely screw Twitter, screw Google. This is absolutely sickening. And again, I want to be able to vote for a Democrat, but we all know if situations were reversed and these were the Proud Boys going around taking up city blocks and saying and putting their flag up saying this is now Proud Boy territory. We have our own autonomous. CNN, NPR, MSNBC, they would put a microphone in front of every single Republican on Capitol Hill, asking them if they condone the Proud Boys behavior, and the media has been silent, and Basement Biden hasn't said a word on this, and it's just, well, you know what? And they lie about what's going on there, too. Mm-hmm. On top, they make it sound like some sort of paradise out there.
Well, that's, yeah. Gross. That one's a tough one for me. I don't know who to believe. But if you'll remember the standoff between the, was it Bundy guys that went up to Oregon and took over that little wildlife refuge in the middle of nowhere? Mm-hmm. And didn't at least one of them got shot and killed by the cops, right?
I believe so, yes. But you're asking me to remember something that happened years ago, and I have a hard time remembering what happened last week.
It's 2016, apparently. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clive? Was it Clive Bundy?
Cliven was the older one, but I think he was the one with the ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Oregon militia, as they're called, standoff turns deadly. 1 killed and several arrested. Yeah. So they took that over for 40-something days.
And wasn't it a rancher that was being charged for letting his cattle graze on federal land or something? I remember that. Is that something?
That was the first thing that happened in, I want to say in Nevada, on the actual Bundy ranch. Okay. But then this was Bundy kids that went out to help another rancher. And I think it had something to do with like controlled burns to stop wildfires spreading. So they were doing controlled burns on their property and maybe stepped on somebody else's property line. Who knows? I don't remember. I just remember them being in there and everybody, freaking the hell out because a bunch of right wingers had taken over some little podunk nothing, like the gift shop at some, it was, right? I think it is the Oregon Refuge. National Wildlife Refuge is where it was. So it's not bothering anybody. You're in the middle of friggin' nowhere.
Right.
And we got to get them out and then kill one of them on the side of the road. But no, it wouldn't have happened if they were white. Oh, wait. Oh. Yeah, forget it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Magical times.
It just keeps getting stupider. And I just have to laugh at it. That's all I think now. This is just some movie. I mean, it would be so much easier if this was happening somewhere else. I think you could get a better perspective on it if it wasn't happening at home. If this was happening in another country, we would be cracking up. We'd be like, look at how absurd. So just try to distance yourself as much as possible and be like, my day-to-day life is not that different. I'm going green in 48 hours. So my biggest concern is whether or not my apartment building is going to open up the gym. I have threatened to riot at 12:01. I told the maintenance guy that I know, said, what's the plan for the gym? Tell me. We get nothing from the leasing office. No updates. I'm like, they opened the pool, not the restrooms at the pool. Okay, I'll walk back to my apartment to go to the bathroom. But come on now, let's be adults. If there was
a Pocket John now, what was the name of it?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Excuse me, neighbors. It's mostly the elderly. They probably couldn't see what I was doing anyway.
Right?
But yeah, so I asked him, and he's just like, "Well, I don't know what's going on." So I called the leasing office, and I got the youngest guy who I know, and he doesn't have any power. So I was like, "What's going on with the damn gym?" Like, we open up 12:01 a.m. on Friday. What's going on? It's Tuesday. Haven't heard a word. Oh, I don't really know. It's a good question. And his gym, he's a trainer. He used to be a trainer at a local gym. He said, oh, that gym's already reopened. They just said, F it. We don't care. We can't keep going without making any money.
Right.
Screw it. Okay. Maybe I'll just go sign up for your friggin' gym. And then I'm going to tell them they need to give me back part of my rent that's supposed to go to cover these things.
Exactly.
So that's my biggest concern. That's my political fight for the week.
Well, my oldest daughter has been bothering me to go to the gym, and the gym policy, as far as I know at this point, we, being in Indiana, we've been free for several weeks now, Tracy. Sweet freedom. But I believe our gym is requiring masks or highly encouraging masks. So you'll have the Karens and the fainting goats next to you on a treadmill wearing masks, and if you don't wear one, then all hell will break loose. I'm surrounded by soccer moms and other Karens at the gym, so that's always a concern if you're not obeying the rules. And I know there are tons of rule breakers at your gym, Tracy, but you just you just deal. But as someone, like I said, I'm getting like blisters on my fingers, on my face already because I'm wearing a mask. The last thing I want to do is go to the gym and then be required to wear a mask while I'm on the treadmill. So
yeah, you don't want to be doing cardio in a mask.
Right. No,
and that's what I was told about the local gyms. Like, this is, my friend showed me, this is what I got from Planet Fitness. And it says mask wearing and 6 feet. And I said, okay, wait, did they have some kind of a disclaimer? Like, we're not responsible if you pass out because you can't breathe?
Right.
This is asinine. It makes me want to go join the gym to see if they have it. And if they don't, then I'm going to be like, I own this bitch tomorrow because this is just stupid.
Planet Fitness, is that really a gym though?
I don't know. They survived. I'm trying to think of who I saw today was shutting down. But they declared, somebody big declared bankruptcy, some big national chain. I'll find it.
Gym?
I want to say it was a gym.
Let's see. There's LA Fitness. There's Power Planet Gold's Gym.
I don't know. I'm Googling. I'll see what happened in the last 24 hours. Declares bankruptcy.
So anyway, I don't see any way now. I can't go to the gym now, Tracy. So I did yoga last night with the.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, with the daughter. So we're gonna do yoga again tonight, and it's the same yoga series I started and quit a month ago. I am trying to reclaim my body.
How's that going?
Yeah, well, listen, I've got plenty of baby weight that I'm still carrying since the last kid. So I'm going to try to reclaim my body.
There you go. It was GNC that declared bankruptcy. So it's related to health.
Okay. Now, you and I, I've been on every fad diet in the world since we've met. And you buy supplements from time to time. And you have given me recommendations on things to buy, especially, when I, have my keto moments, and you're like, oh, get this. And none of it has been from GNC. I don't know. I'm really, GNC seems to me to be the Radio Shack.
Yes, it is.
Right? I mean,
it is. They should have transitioned to online anyway.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like people just decide today's the day I'm going on my diet, damn it. So you need to be able to go into the store and get direction from the people that work there, because they're usually pretty knowledgeable in that place.
Oh, absolutely. I've been in there, I think, twice in 10 years, and all excited. Exactly like you said. I'm starting today, damn it. I need my supplements now. And then I run in there and I get them, and I believe in my closet right now I have a couple of GNC some sort of supplements that if I look at the expiration date would be somewhere around 2010.
There you go. You're saving them for the next pandemic?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's like the magazine checkout stand of stores.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I need that.
Now I'm going to have to go. We have, in my area, we have a GNC right next to a Papa Murphy's, which I've always been fascinated with Papa Murphy's. So I stopped there, and they're like the Subway of pizza. Right in front of you, they'll throw all the stuff on the dough, and but they don't bake it. Here you go, here's your pizza. You go home and cook it for 25 minutes. It's like,
yeah.
Well,
I think it's great. I don't know. Did you get a pizza stone for your new grill or not?
No, I have not gotten a pizza stone yet.
Oh,
but
you got to do that.
That is coming. The grill's fantastic. Although I made a mistake the other night. I made a brisket. And
yes.
Like a pebble.
I said, no, did you become a rock biter? You look like the rock biter, kind of, from the Neverending Story.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You've never seen that? Did you not have a childhood?
I don't watch movies about things and stuff. No.
Even when you were a kid, what did you do all day?
Sports.
It rains occasionally, right? You guys have tornadoes and stuff.
Yeah, but
never seen the Neverending Story?
Mm-mm.
Okay, next time you're looking for something to do with your youngest,
now, then, right?
Watch it.
See what I did there.
Yeah, I know. It's very clever.
Don't worry, the first one that ever did that joke.
I'm sure you are. But yeah, go watch it with the youngest. It's a great movie.
So this has to do with pebble biting? What? I don't
know.
No,
there's a character in it. So it's in a whole fantasy world that this kid goes into. And one of the creatures that he meets is called a rock biter. And he just looks like this giant dude that's made of rocks, but he eats rocks.
Oh.
All the time. So you don't want to be standing under him when he's eating, because just rocks fly everywhere, but your brisket looked like a giant rock.
Oh, I understand. So. Well, see, when you cook something for 13 hours and you rub on it, you see, you're trying to develop a bark on the outside. So it's a little bit tougher and not crunchy, but it's a bark. So it looks black. It's been surrounded with smoke for hours and hours and hours. Well, I made a brisket back Memorial Day weekend. I had a bunch of family at the house, so I got a 9-pound brisket, and that turned out great. Well, I got a corned beef brisket this time, and I know nothing about corned beef cooking corned beef. So I thought it was just the rub that you put on the outside of the corned beef that would give it spice. Come to find out, they inject it with brine, and it's salty brine. And then I put a salty rub on the outside of it. And so, wow, it was very, very salty. But it was tender. It was once you got past the first couple bites, you got used to the salt. It was fine. But so I made a mistake on that. But it's gone. I mean,
good.
Left was 4 pounds. So
this is why you should be documenting your grilling adventures for everybody.
Yes, I should be.
We'll get on that.
Yeah, but I need a pizza stone. But this grill's fantastic, and I won't mention the name of it because they aren't a sponsor of the Enough Already podcast. But or should I?
No, you can write an affiliate post. There you go.
Okay, I'll write an affiliate
Finger will
post.
slang some grills.
Yeah, it's
on enoughalready.media. Come over there to buy all the stuff we recommend.
It is the best grill I've ever had in my life, and it's charcoal, and you don't mess. It's like the charcoal's in a chimney to the right of the grill, and so you don't have to sit there and wait for the coals to get gray, and you don't have to use lighter fluid. You just light the chimney, and then 10 minutes you got a hot grill with charcoal flavor. It's fantastic, Tracy. And I would think, I know you cook your steaks. You've got the sous vide, right? How they pronounce it?
Yeah.
And I've heard that that's a fantastic way to make steaks. But
yeah, the ideal combination would be that plus your grill. And you would just sous vide them until they're to the temperature you want, and then throw them on sear on both sides. You're done.
Yeah. I mean, this grill can get up to 700 degrees. So you get good sear on that bad boy.
Yeah, you can probably sear it in 30 seconds on each side.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, there's that. So, but no, it wasn't a Pebble. But follow me on Instagram at Fingers Malloy. You can see all of my grill pictures and cigar photos and all that good stuff.
Just lovely.
Yeah. So, you know what's not lovely is, I don't know how much you want to get into this, but I hate coming at a story with, if the right did it, but it's hard not to in 2020. And the latest on Jimmy Kimmel,
well, first of all, we predicted that last week. When we were talking about the guillotine victims, and you were saying Fallon, and I said, where's Kimmel? Because I've seen these pictures, and I didn't realize it was more than just him as who was he? Karl Malone?
Karl Malone.
But he also did Oprah and somebody else. So he had to apologize today. I'm trying to keep track of all these things for everyone on the Guillotines account on Twitter. And Eskimo Pies got canceled too.
So for those who did not tune in last week, will you explain the guillotine?
Well, it's the social justice warrior's weapon of choice. It's the ultimate. So it's what threatens everybody's career. It will take your career away. It's basically your digital murdering is what it is. We no longer have a guillotine in the town square, but we have Twitter and we have social media. And that's what this has become. So with the Guillotine account, I've kind of tried to keep my eyes on who's getting fingers pointed at them. And then I'll put a little clock ticking down and say, oh, this guy's on my watch. Like I missed the Eskimo pie thing until I saw something today about another thing. They were like, last week we lost Aunt Jemima. What was it? Whoever phrased it, so it did funny. It was like, last week we lost our favorite syrup character, a box of rice's character, and an ice cream delight. And I'm like, what's the ice cream? What ice cream is possibly offensive? And then I searched ice cream canceled, and Eskimo pies. We cannot do that.
I saw,
and then I see Kimmel trend. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, I got a side note. I saw a hilarious tweet, and I can't remember who tweeted this out. So I apologize for not being able to give the proper credit. But it said 1950. I bet in 2020 we'll have flying cars. And then it said 2020. This syrup is racist.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Kimmel's in trouble, And the funny thing is that, this is ABC. And, ABC, of course, it was the home of Roseanne.
Mm-hmm.
And will Jimmy Kimmel be led to the guillotine?
Yeah, he apologized. He issued some long, weepy apology. So to me, that's the equivalent of him being led there. Now it's your final words, sir, and then it gets turned back to the crowd. Do we agree? Like, should we let him go or off with his head?
Well, I mean,
and as of this recording, they're letting him stay. Although, I mean, he was on The Man Show, which is also incredibly problematic, Fingers.
It is.
You'll remember.
Love The Man Show, by the way. Love The Man Show.
Was Rogan on that too?
No,
at some point?
It
was him and Carolla.
Carolla for sure. I don't remember seeing Rogan on there. But I mean, a show like that you can't do anymore. But listen, the guillotine is very entertaining because you have social justice warriors. They turn into what I refer to as social media archaeologists.
Yes.
They will go back in time 7, 8, 9, 10 years on social media to dig up tweets that they find offensive, and then they show it to the Twitter fainting goat who will lose consciousness, and then this person needs to be led to the guillotine. Be canceled. That's pretty
and Rogan was a host for a year. So it was Kimmel and Carolla from 99 to 2003, and then it was Rogan and Doug Stanhope, it looks like 2003 to 2004.
Good memory. I don't remember that at all.
Well, I've just heard him talk about it through, listening to his podcast all the time, that he did The Man Show for a while. I don't know, because I always thought that Kimmel and Carolla were annoying. So, and I'm also not a man, nor do I identify as one at this current time. So I did not watch that show.
So you wouldn't find a television show that ends with girls jumping on trampolines to be something that would be all that entertaining.
No, but I mean, I did watch Stern when that was on E, and that was way worse than just like dippy cheerleader looking girls jumping on trampolines.
Men were simple creatures.
I know. Sorry, that's why I like you better than women.
We're pretty easy to understand. I cannot figure any of you out.
No.
So.
We can't figure ourselves out either. This is why Karen is a meme and there is no male equivalent.
Kyle.
It could be. Right, but there's no archetypical man there's the soy boys, of course. And
man bun.
Yeah, like the guys that would run to HR. I guess they exist.
The male feminist.
Yeah, kind of I think that's all a LARP. I don't think that's real. Like Bill the tattletaling men. Yeah, go ahead.
Bill Burr does a fantastic bit on the male feminist. Is the most pathetic way to try to get pussy in the history of male-female interaction. But
yeah, potentially, yeah. Oh man. Well, and do we want to talk about I got on Twitter yesterday and Jussie Smollett was trending. You didn't see this because of the, what's his name, Bubba? The fake news and
Bubba Watkins?
What is it? I want to say Wallace? Watson, but it's Bubba Wallace. Bubba Watson is the golfer, right? This is Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace.
But Jussie Smollett was trending instead, which is just like, okay.
Well, I mean, listen, if you are the original hoaxster, you're always
Well, Tawana Brawley is the original hoaxster that we all remember that was in the 80s, right? Or early 90s, maybe?
Yeah. Gosh, well, that was Fat Al. That was jumpsuit Al Sharpton.
That was tracksuit. That was like Run DMC tracksuit Sharpton.
That may have been mid 80s. 84, 85.
I'm using the Google machine.
Oh, it's fantastic.
87.
87.
So for those of you who don't know that story, as NPR reports it, 15 years later. So it was 1987 when a black teenager, Tawana Brawley, said she'd been raped and kidnapped by a group of white men in Dutchess County, New York. Her story of being attacked, scrawled with racial slurs, smeared with feces, and left beside a road, wrapped in a plastic bag made front pages across the nation, especially after Reverend Al Sharpton took up her case. So that went on for a couple days, and then she finally admitted that she had blown past her curfew or something like that, and so made up this story so she wouldn't get grounded. Yeah. And then
that's an
later
moment. You know, you're trying to figure out a way to not get grounded, and then you got tracksuit Al Sharpton at your door.
But I love how NPR does this. This is their 15 years later, so this is after Al Sharpton took over her case. But as the Associated Press reminds readers, quote, a special state grand jury later determined that Brawley had fabricated her claims, perhaps to avoid punishment for staying out late. That's all they give to that part of the story. Not that it was like bullshit and it caused all this unrest and Sharpton was leading the charge on this one. And then, you know, the cop that was named in all of this, because she accused cops of doing that to her, if I remember correctly. They won suits against her later. I mean, it's just hideous.
So the original story blows up. You wonder how many people still think that happened.
Oh, yeah.
If you mention her name and people who remember that story, I would love to know the percentage of the population who still think that truly happened.
It was a different time, though, where everything wasn't necessarily in your face. Like, if you missed the 6 o'clock news, you weren't going to hear that. Now, there's no escaping this stuff. But Sharpton's involved in this Bubba Wallace case. If you know the story, right, Fingers? Do you want to?
Yes. Well, apparently, so Bubba Wallace is, I believe he's the only African-American NASCAR driver.
That's my understanding as well.
Currently on the gosh, I wanted to call it the Winston Cup. That's how old I am. They used to call it the Winston Cup. It's the whatever series is the top-notch series in NASCAR. Not a NASCAR guy. So apparently someone claimed that there was a noose in his garage after he left the track, that there was a noose hanging in the garage. So, you know, NASCAR came out immediately after they shit their pants, a collective shitting. They shat themselves, and then came out with a statement. We support Bubba. We are going to have a huge investigation. They called the feds in, looking at this as a hate crime. The FBI steps in. They do their investigation. They use their resources, your taxpayer dollars at work, and they find out that it was just a garage door pull. But so it, you know, just a cord that you pull to close the garage door. And Bubba is like, oh no, that was a noose. He
didn't even see it, is my understanding.
Right.
He never saw it. Yeah.
He was told that there was a noose. So he's doubling down. He was on Don Lemon, whose mascot should be a fainting goat as well. Yes. Don Lemon's show, I believe, saying that he's upset that this was clearly a noose, and so he's doubling and tripling down on this.
And Sharpton's involved.
And Sharpton's involved now. Well, good.
Yeah, so the Daily Wire had a headline earlier today. Al Sharpton contends the FBI probe into the NASCAR noose, which they put in quotes, was wrong. Wants a further investigation.
So we're going to have a further investigation until we get the results that we want.
Yeah, so this is his logic. Ready? Okay. This is what Sharpton said when he went on, I believe he's on MSNBC, of course. Yeah, he was on Morning Joe, I suppose, talking to Willie Geist. This is Sharpton talking here. It was a noose. So the question is, even if they did not know that Bubba Wallace was going to use that stall, why was a noose in the stall? And it's like, hey, jackass, it's not a noose. It's a knot in a rope that you use to open and closed the garage door, and all the garage doors that I saw, because there was tons of pictures floating around, had the same damn knot.
Right.
But nope. We need further investigation. So he continued. He said, clearly from what we just saw from Bubba Wallace, this does not seem like he, who is the victim and possible target in this matter, seemed to be satisfied with the answers that the FBI gave us.
So are we to believe that the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2020 is going to look into something like this and say, well, it's probably a noose. We need to cover this up.
Yep.
Really? That's what we're going with. Okay.
Yeah. Clearly,
Sure.
even though these, I think the garages are randomly assigned, there's photographs that show that thing's been there for at least 6 months. And I'd seen other pictures, and who knows, there's videos where you can see them in other bays in this garage, but nope. It's kind of like, they say if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I'm starting to feel like that. And especially when it comes to Sharpton, it's just like everything. He's got race tinted glasses on.
Well, no, this is his glasses are tinted green, and NASCAR has some deep pockets. So now what's going to be fun is you're going to have someone on staff at each track to go around to every garage to make sure that any cord that closes a garage door does not have a loop in it. Okay. Cool.
I'll take that job.
Right? It has to pay well.
Of course.
It's NASCAR.
Like you said, they got deep pockets.
That's right.
But I'm shocked at how fast they came out. We're getting the FBI involved. Like, this is completely unacceptable. And
they shat themselves. Of course they're going to do. Of course. They listen, they caught a lot of shit for banning the Confederate flag at races, which whatever.
Yeah, if you want to wave the flag of a losing team, it's like people did it in Chicago with the Cubs stuff for years. You just kind of point and laugh.
I've got a Lions tattoo.
Exactly.
Everybody does what they do. So they did that, and that bought them some temporary social justice cred, I guess. But at the end of the day, the narrative on NASCAR fans is a bunch of Southern redneck hicks. So I mean, this scratched the itch of every social justice warrior out there. Like, oh well, of course, NASCAR. There must be a noose in the garage. I mean, it's just a bunch of hillbillies washing cars, going around the track. They're drinking their Busch Lights, yelling "Yeehaw!" listening to Skinner. This has to be true. And even if the FBI comes in and says, well, no, it's actually just a cord that you see when you raise the garage, you can pull it by a handle, but sometimes it makes it easier if you have a rope to pull on, a cord, if you will. And sometimes it's nice if there's a loop in the cord because your hand can fit in there and you can pull the door down. It makes things simpler. Nope. No, it's a noose.
No, and I mean, they were itching for something bigger than getting, statues taken down and Eskimo pies renamed. We needed a real scalp here. So I get that.
I mean, listen, now, if we continue to, and I shouldn't say we, if the country continues to feed this beast, there's a never-ending source of material now where it's just, okay, what are we going after next? What are we going after next? What are we going after next? Keep tearing down statues. Keep going after mascots and logos. Apparently, is Chef Boyardee safe? Do we know?
For now.
Oh.
I don't know. But here was one that I found on the Guiltotine site, because I've been kind of following some people, but then also building lists, because that's the trick on Twitter. If you don't want to actually click follow, you can build a list, keep it secret, and then keep track. So I don't even know who these people are, but I looked at some social justice warrior lefties with blue checks and looked, they have a small following count, like who they're following. So I just went through those. So this was one of my favorites from this week. So keep this on the radar. and see if this happens, because this will be hysterical. So I'd like to see one of the most racist shows on TV. So name a show that you believe is one of the most racist shows they could potentially be going after that's currently still airing new episodes. And it's wildly popular, but also completely ridiculous. It's on the History Channel. All right, your time's up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ancient Aliens.
Oh, stop it.
Canceled permanently because why? It's an entire show that exists to discredit the extraordinary artistic and architectural accomplishments of past and current peoples. The time has come. Cancel Ancient Aliens.
So should we jump on board on this? Should we have some fun? Should we get on board?
We could. Well, here's her follow-up tweet. Could it be aliens? And she wrote, no, it fucking isn't, which is fair enough. So done. I'm blocking and reporting any racists who dare appear in my timeline with their ish. And I'm batting 100% lately with getting accounts banned, so take your chances. I'm 2 glasses of red wine in and feisty. That's a Karen. She is the queen of all Karens. I'll be using my platform to get them deplatformed, she continues. I should have pushed harder before. No excuses. Time to buckle up and cancel racist trash infecting the minds of millions.
Enough already, Ancient Aliens.
Okay.
I think we need to get on board on this.
You want it canceled?
I think
I'd have several family members that would excommunicate me because they find it to be so entertaining. I'm like, let me guess, it was aliens? Every time I walk into a room where it's being watched. Like, is this one a twist where they're like, no, this time we don't think it was aliens?
How does this person still have their Twitter account, by the way, when they're openly talking about how they're trying to get people canceled?
She's a blue check.
How did she get her blue check? What does she do?
Well, let's see. She's a professor and an Egyptologist and a 2020 Guggenheim Fellow. We can reach out to her agency for speaking requests. Maybe we could get her on the show. She'd be like, I want to hear you out. Tell me why we should cancel the Ancient Aliens. You're an Egyptologist.
Oh, but could you imagine if she did any research on this show?
She would never.
Palpitations.
Never, ever, ever come. She does have her pronouns in her profile, so that's usually a dead
What
tip.
are the pronouns?
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of basic.
I don't know. I feel like if you're just going to go basic, then why do you even need to? It should be only for special exceptions, like, I have mine in there, which is Her Majesty, and still people refuse to abide.
Well, the Guillotine Twitter account, which please share again the handle for those who haven't followed yet.
At the Guillotine. So it's GUILTOTINE.
People, you need to follow this account, not only because Tracy's doing a fantastic job following the cancel culture on social media, but also the people who, and it's very easy to do, I must say, if you just glance at the Twitter handle, it does look like guillotine. People get confused by the handle and don't understand that it's parody, even though in the bio.
Yeah, well, Twitter has serious rules about that. Like, you have to call out that you're a parody. So I changed the bio to be like, obvious parody.
And people still don't get it. And so the responses to the Guillotine Twitter account are fantastic. The threads are outstanding. So you really do need to check it out if you're still interested in Twitter. And I'm getting less and less interested every day.
And you better stake out your territory on Parler. I got on Parler so early. I met Tracy on Parler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'll have to check out Parler. But is Parler like Gab?
No, it's a little bit more socially acceptable than Gab. It hasn't been relegated to, Nazi gathering space and I feel bad for the guys at Gab. I don't think that that's their fault, but I don't remember which one of the mass shooters, they were like, oh, he had a Gab account. And then you read further and it's like, he also had Twitter and Facebook and live streamed the whole thing on Facebook. But I think it might've been the Christchurch shooter in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think he live streamed that on Facebook, but it was Gab's fault. She's like, okay, well, you can't ever come back from that.
Example number 7,432 in the last decade of why the mainstream media blows. Mm-hmm. Absolutely sucks. And while I continue to call CNN the cable narrative network, because it's not news anymore. We have a political agenda. We want to get a certain political point of view, a politician elected, and they happen to be Democrats and not moderate Democrats either. And we're going to push this worldview on people and piss off. We don't care if our ratings are in the goddamn toilet. Doesn't matter to us. You're still going to have to be in an airport at some point and watch us.
Maybe not anymore.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's why they just keep upping the angst.
It's amazing to me. They continue to get creamed. I mean, they're trying to be MSNBC. And they
CNN.
CNN. And they can't out MSNBC. It's not going to happen. So here you have what used to be a credible news network trying to out MSNBC, and it's just sad to watch. A once proud network that we all knew was kind of lefty, now it's just ridiculously to the left, and we're just supposed to pretend that oh no, they're straight shooters over there. They call them straight down the line. It just happens to be that everything that comes out of the Trump administration is evil, and
like he was totally serious when he joked at his rally about telling the team to slow down the testing. They're still doing fact checks on that 3 days later. They had Fauci up on Capitol Hill today, and they asked him point blank. They had to ask hey, did Trump tell you to slow down testing because he was concerned about the number of new cases going up? Like he said at his rally. No, that didn't happen. That's called a joke. Yeah, is it a bad joke? Potentially, if you have no sense of humor and you can't understand what he's saying.
Well, listen, and this is what drives me nuts. About him and the fact that they continue to make me defend this man. I wish I had a president of the United States that wouldn't crack that joke. There's so many other things you can joke about. I just don't think that's appropriate.
Well, that wasn't his best jokes of the night. He had way better jokes than that, but they were clearly jokes. That one was like, well, he could be serious. But him explaining how he walked down the stairs funny because he had leather bottom shoes, that it was slippery, and then why he drinks with two hands. Did you see this? Yes. And then he threw the glass. See, that was hilarious. But I get it. That's clear. Like, you have to be trying so hard not to understand that those were jokes.
But well, then you have people. I saw Twitter. Henry Winkler the other day was drinking out.
I posted it on the Guiltotine site. I said, dude, owned. Like, Trump just got owned by this. That's it. All Henry. So if you don't know what we're talking about, I guess the press had made a big deal that Trump was drinking water with two hands. So he took pains to explain that he does that on purpose. So one hand grips the glass and the other one kind of rides underneath it to protect his tie from getting wet in case the glass dribbles. Because that would be embarrassing to have a big wet spot on your nice, shiny silk tie.
Right.
So he walked everybody through that at his rally in Oklahoma, and everybody's dying laughing, and then he takes it, does a one-handed sip, and then chucks the glass. No, this is madness. This is what we get, right? This is what we deserve, apparently.
And then you have CNN the next day, or maybe even 5 minutes after, we got to have a panel discussion on the president and his glass joke.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we get. And then they wonder why their reputation is in the toilet and people don't take them seriously anymore.
Mystery.
Well, what else is a mystery is we are an hour and 14 minutes in, and it feels like we just started a half an hour ago. Yeah, Time flies, my friend. Do you have anything you want to close with before we say goodbye?
No.
Okay. Well, you can find the Enough Already podcasts where all fine podcasts are sold. Go to your favorite podcast platform, will be there. Also, you can catch the video version of this podcast on YouTube and BitChute. Are we still doing BitChute?
Yeah, BitChute gets annoying about mirroring. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. And I count on it to do it. So if I don't check, sometimes it doesn't end up there and then I have to go manually do it. So that's a long way of me saying it should be there. But I'll get it caught up if it's not.
I'll tell you where we are, and that is Locals. Tracy has been talking about Locals for some time. I joined Locals a couple of days ago. I still don't know what it is, but I'm there, and I'm part of the Enough Already community.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
I love being a part of a community. It takes a village to make the Enough Already podcast grow, and so here we are on Locals in a community. And so tell the folks about Locals.
It's a social media site, but it's kind of combination of Patreon and say like a private Facebook group, potentially. And people could come in from the outside, I believe, without an account and maybe read the wall. I don't know. But otherwise, it's a place for us to interact with you guys. If you want to interact with us, share things, and not worried about getting booted off, because Dave Rubin started it to avoid the cancel culture Karens from coming after him and other people. So you'll see a lot of people that are teetering on banishment, and those who've already been banished have relocated over to Locals. So you can find us over there at enoughalready.locals.com.
So check us out there.
I would say that the phone app and the iPad app is better than going through the computer. It's much easier to navigate, or so I have found.
Okay, well, I'll have to download the app. Is it on BlackBerry? I don't have BlackBerry.
I mean, like, who are you, Hillary? I thought you destroyed all those with your the hammer.
And of course, you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/enoughalreadyradio.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. I don't know. All those links are on enoughalready.media. We have links to all our social media over there.
That's our home, and you can also find the Guillotine over there as well. Final thoughts?
No. If anybody sees anything, say something. If there's anybody I should put on Death Watch, let me know.
Go follow the Guillotine. She's Tracy. I'm Fingers. We'll be back soon with an all-new Enough Already.